Starting live video. Beautiful. Good morning, Rabotai. In this day, Thursday, the 7th of Adar 2nd, corresponding to March 14th. The Lighthouse video feed Torah project Le'ilui Nishmat, Devorah Feige Bat Shemuel, and Refuah Shelema of Ora Devorah Bat Rivka. The iTorah.com. Sponsored today, Le'ilui Nishmat Yonah Ben Ze'ev and Penina Bat Tzvi. May the Neshamot have an Aliyah. Amen. According to most halachic opinions, today we also commemorate Zayin Adar, which is the date of the passing and the day of the birthday of Moshe Rabbeinu alav shalom. Moshe Rabbeinu, obviously, the Torah calls Moshe Rabbeinu Isha Elokim. Moshe Rabbeinu is calling the Torah Bechol Beti Ne'emanhu. Moshe Rabbeinu was the most trusted, we can call him, representative of HaKadosh Baruch Hu in the world. And therefore, it says in the Sefarim HaKedoshim that the Zechut of Moshe Rabbeinu has the power to beseech HaKadosh Baruch Hu on our behalf to find the solution to many of the challenges that we find in our lives. Amen. We learn this from the name of Moshe himself. We know Moshe Rabbeinu alav shalom. The Midrash tells us that Moshe had actually 10 names, and none of them was actually Moshe. But the name of Moshe was given to him by Batia, the daughter of Paro, as the Pasuk writes in Perashat Shemot, Ki min hamayim meshitihu, because you were drawn from the water. David HaMelech writes in the book of Tehillim, Alai abaru, all the waters of the ocean came upon me. David HaMelech is referring to what? To the hardships and challenges that he experienced throughout life. And no one can deny that we have no issues in our life. Everyone has situations in their life. Or if we don't have Baruch Hashem, perhaps people related to us may have, or our children may have, or grandchildren may have. So therefore, our rabbis tell us that in the day of Moshe Rabbeinu, besides talking about Moshe Rabbeinu, besides lighting a candle in honor of Moshe Rabbeinu, but actually you should do two additional things. Number one, read Perashat Ha'azinu. Perashat Ha'azinu is known in the Sefer Torah as the Shirah, one of the final speeches that Moshe Rabbeinu gave prior to his departure, which we all know very well. The Pasuk writes, Velo yada ish et keburato ad hayom hazeh. No one knows where Moshe Rabbeinu is buried. So we have two opinions where Moshe Rabbeinu is buried. One opinion says in Hor HaHar, that was Aharon, in basically Baigbor Oto Bagai Mul Bet Peor. So if you follow the Chumash, it says that Moshe Rabbeinu is buried in a place called Gai, very close to an area called Baal Peor, which was the area where the Jewish people sinned in the incident that Pinchas came to the rescue of Am Israel. But if you look in Patah Eliyahu Navi, there is a hint that Moshe Rabbeinu is actually buried in Me'arat HaMachpelah. The Zohar's name of Moshe Rabbeinu is Raya Mehemna. Raya Mehemna in English means the faithful shepherd. But bottom line, either opinion, that Moshe Rabbeinu is buried in Me'arat HaMachpelah or Moshe Rabbeinu is buried in Gai Mul Bet Peor, definitely no one can go and approach Moshe Rabbeinu. No one knows where the kever of Moshe Rabbeinu is. And the Gemara in Sotah discusses this concept, and it says as follows: why did HaKadosh Baruch Hu prevents Am Israel to see the location where Moshe Rabbeinu is buried? The Gemara answers, because Moshe Rabbeinu's power of tefillah is so great that if the Jewish people will go to the graveside of Moshe Rabbeinu and pray to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Morei Olam will send the Yeshua, will send Mashiach immediately. in the zechut of Moshe Rabbeinu, especially that Moshe Rabbeinu, and we discussed this a month ago, but it's also today an appropriate day to speak about it. In the Kabbalistic worlds, Moshe Rabbeinu represents the midah of Nesach. Nesach in Hebrew means eternity. The essence of Moshe Rabbeinu is eternal. Moshe Rabbeinu's Torah is eternal. Moshe emet, betorato emet. The Torah of Moshe is truth. Moshe Rabbeinu is truth. I quoted already a couple of pesukim. Bechol beti ne'emanhu. Can you imagine that Borei Olam says about a human being, I trust wholeheartedly whatever he does. Even in the world of business, doesn't happen. You need to get approval, you need to consult, etc. But can you imagine that the Almighty says in the Torah, I believe in anything that Moshe Rabbeinu does or say. So this is the zechut of Moshe. Not only that, Baruch, Ata Adonai Eloheinu Melech HaOlam, Shehakol Nihiya Bidbaro. Doble Israel. I think I catch a cold in Brooklyn. Amen. You hear the sound? Kaparat Amanot. I'm happy to be back at 70 degrees.
We miss you, Rabbi.
Thank you. There were 32, 34, 31. Okay. Huh? That's hot. That's true. So let's go one more point about Moshe Rabbeinu. We know very well that Moshe Rabbeinu is connected to Keriat Yam Suf, to the splitting of the Red Sea. This is the beautiful day of Shevi'i Shel Pesach. The 7th day of Pesach, we say the Shirah, we sing the Shirah, we do special prayers, etc. The Gemara writes, Parnasah and finding a wife are equally challenging like the split of the Red Sea. The Gemara writes, Kasha parnasato shel ha'adam kekeriat yam suf. Kashe zivugo shel ha'adam kekeriat yam suf. The question is, why? What's the relationship between the splitting of the Red Sea, marriage, or parnasa? The answer is as follows. The splitting of the Red Sea was a miracle that went above nature. The nature of the water is to remain down, to stay down. If I take a cup of water or tea and I spill it, you'll see the liquid gravitating to whatever low point is. Fire is completely the opposite. Let's make believe that this is a match and this is the fire. I turn the match upside down, the flame goes up. So we understand that the nature of water is to stay down, and the nature of fire is to go up, which, by the way, Torah is compared to fire, but Torah is compared also to water. So a person needs to learn the humility that the water represents, and the abundance that the water represents, and the calmness that the water represents. But yet we see in Keriat Yam Suf that the water altered its nature. In what sense? Instead of the water remaining flat, the water stood up. But not just stood up. Let's say if you go to the water fountain outside, how far, how much does the water, what's the height of the water? If it's a drinking water fountain, maybe 10 inches, 12 inches. If it's the Jerusalem sphere outside, how many inches it goes? The water fountain, the more the pressure, the taller the water. Even a wave from the ocean, they don't stay high all the way. They climb maybe 4, 6, 10, 12 feet, but then eventually they curve down. In the splitting of the Red Sea, none of the above happened. The water, from being flat, it became standing as a wall, tall enough. The salty water became sweet. The muddy water became transparent, became clear. So what do we see? That every miracle, and by the way, there were more miracles in the splitting of the Red Sea than on the 10 plagues of Egypt. That's something that you say in the Haggadah of Pesach. Rabbi Eliezer, Rabbi Lazar, Rabbi Yosef Galili, and Rabbi Akiva. And each one debates and exposes their perspective, how many more miracles happen in the splitting of the Red Sea than the actual dry land of Egypt. Parnasa is also the opposite. You have merchandise. You know, sometimes a well-dressed customer comes in and doesn't buy anything from you, even though you spend with him an hour, but you believed on the watch that he's wearing or the dress code that he's having that maybe he's going to be a great customer. And yet he says, okay, let me look around. And then a simple person looking pashut, you know, and then this person makes your day. This is Parnasa. We don't know where the Parnasa is going to come. Me'ayin yabo Ezri, David HaMelech asks in the book of Tehillim, Ezri me'ayin Hashem oseh shamayim ba'aretz. That is the essence of Parnasa. Zivug. Zivugim. And what I'm going to say now, I say it because I believe in it. When it comes to the topic of Zivugim, in English there is a statement that says, every pot has a cover. Every neshama has a soulmate. That a person delays marriage, that's a challenge. Why? Because the more the person waits, the more challenging becomes to the person. The person is set in their habits. The person doesn't have the same flexibility when someone is young versus someone that is old. But let's be clear, it's never too late. Even in our kahal, how many cases we have that people, Baruch Hashem, they married, even at an advanced age. So, but what is the shidduch? The shidduch is basically basic emunah in HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Make the effort, do your due diligence, do your checking, do your background search, and, you know, look for the goodness and the good midot and derech eretz and yirat shamayim that a person has. But we know very well how many times you go on a shidduch until you find the right soulmate. Some people, 3 times. They went out with 3 different ladies and they got married with the 4th one. Some may be lucky and with the first one they got married. And some need to go through tikkunim and they go through 10 of them. Until finally they come and they say, you know what? This is it. So we understand now that Parnasa, Shidduchim, and the splitting of the Red Sea, they have one thing in common, that all of them are above nature. Do you know what deal you're going to do today in the real estate? Do you know what deal you're going to do today in jewelry store or in the car dealership? You don't know. But we pray, and we have emunah in HaKadosh Baruch Hu. And Be'ezat Hashem, Hashem will answer accordingly. Guess what? Today, the Zechut of Moshe Rabbeinu has the power of altering nature. The Zechut of Moshe, Ki min hamayim meshitihu. Moshe was drawn from the waters. Our rabbis tell us that this name of Moshe also is the Zechut of the person to be drawn out from the personal Egypt that a person has in their life. What I'm trying to say, although when we say the word Misraim, Egypt, it means the country, but our rabbis tell us that the word Misraim is actually the word Mesarim. Mesarim in Hebrew means Metzar. David HaMelech writes in the book of Tehillim, Min ha-mesar karati yah, anani ba-merhav yah. What's the meaning of the word Mesar? Narrowness. From the narrowness I call upon you. What does it mean, the narrowness of life? From the challenges of life. You see, when you experience a challenge, okay, things are not comfortable. But when you have the Yeshua, ba-merhav yah, merhav means abundance, like extra leg room in an airplane. Okay? Imagine yourself you're sitting in the middle seat, squeezed by two big-sized people. Okay, how do you feel? Very uncomfortable. And you say, oh, I want to be home already so I can walk freely. So this is, or extra leg room. You sit in an extra leg room chair. Okay, how comfortable do you feel? This is Misraim. Misraim, although it means Egypt, it means the package that we all have in our life. And that's why our holy rabbis tell us today, in the day of Moshe Rabbeinu, give charity in his memory, light a candle in his memory, read Perashat Ha'azinu, which I mentioned before. Chapter 32 of Sefer Devarim is the Perashah before Bezot HaBeracha. And this is a Perashah that has a lot of segulot. One of them is that everyone's name is hinted in this week's Perashah. And this Perashah is a Shirah, a song. And a song is related to salvation from HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Additionally, our rabbis suggest us to read chapter 90 to 100 of the Tehillim, including 100. I already did all of the above. That's why I'm talking about it. I did it in the break between the other minyan and this class. I already did. I did my prayers. Doesn't mean that I'm not going to do it again. The Moshe Rabbeinu has plenty of credit line. Moshe Rabbeinu has overdraft protection. And this is God's pasuk in the Perashah. Lochen abdi Moshe bechol beti ne'emanhu. What's the meaning of ne'eman? Trusted. Trustworthy of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. So therefore, Rabotai, after we finish the class, here or at home, take advantage. Chapter 90 begins with Tefillah le Moshe Isha Elokim. And Mizmor le Torah is the chapter 100. So you are surrounded by magnificent chapters of Tehillim. So take advantage, excuse me. Take advantage, please, of the essence of the day, because at the end of the day, we know a basic fact that every time we talk about tzaddikim, every time we commemorate the hilulot of the tzaddikim, guess what? We become connected directly to the tzaddik. But the beautiful part about Moshe Rabbeinu is that we don't need the day of his birthday or the day of his yortzeit to connect to Moshe Rabbeinu. Every time a Jew learns Torah, we are directly connecting with Moshe Rabbeinu, alav shalom. So here it's on that the zechut of Moshe Rabbeinu, be'ezat Hashem, will bring great yeshuot. And don't be ashamed and don't be embarrassed. You can talk about it silently between you and HaKadosh Baruch Hu. You don't pray to Moshe Rabbeinu. You pray to HaKadosh Baruch Hu that in the zechut of Moshe Rabbeinu, Hashem should give you a new lifeline. And don't be embarrassed. Whatever you need to pray for, if it's parnasah, refuah, shidduchim, doesn't matter, teshuvah, go ahead and take advantage of the day. The Gemara of today discusses something concerning the building of the Mishkan. This is the Gemara of today, coming from Masechet Menachot. And the Gemara talks about the Shulchanot. The Shulchan, we started to discuss this topic yesterday, was a special table, custom-made, in the time of the Mishkan. And those tables contain the 12 breads known as Lechem HaPanim, that they were replaced every Friday afternoon. The Gemara tells us that Shlomo HaMelech did 10 tables besides the one from the Moshe Rabbeinu, but the bread was placed only on the Shulchan of Moshe. Also the Gemara says, 10 menorot. Shlomo HaMelech did 10 menorot, but the lighting of the menorah was in the menorah of Moshe Rabbeinu. Now, the Gemara doesn't tell us the reason why Shlomo HaMelech added this menorot and this shulchanot. By the way, there was one more thing done, which is the kior bechano. Kior Bechano is the wash basin, right, that the Kohanim use to wash their hands and feet every time they come to work into the Bet HaMikdash. The original wash basin, if I remember correctly, it was like this. It had a base and it has a container, and this was the spigot that came out, and there was the same on the other side, meaning to say that if you have two outlets, how many Kohanim can wash their feet? Only two at a time. So I don't remember who was the one that established and created 12 faucets to have 12 Kohanim at the same time washing. Why was done this? The short answer is the fear was that the Kohanim will become negligent in the washing of the hands in the Bet HaMikdash, because they will say 30, 40 people waiting to wash the hands. If you only have, it's like the airport. The airport has plugs, right? But you want to plug your cell phone, and there is only one plug, and one fellow is using it. So what do? Either you wait, or you walk around until you find an outlet. So the fear was that the Kohanim, Haz v'Shalom, will become negligent in this matter. So therefore they established 12 spigots or 12 faucets to be able to wash the hands 12 times, 12 Kohanim simultaneously. The reason why Shlomo HaMelech built this added concept, that Shulchanot and the Menorot, it was simply to give kavod to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. The Pasuk tells us, Ze keli ve'anvehu, this is my God and I will adorn him. From here our rabbis teach us that beautifying synagogues, beautifying mitzvot is part of praising HaKadosh Baruch Hu as well. The Gemara discusses one more concept. The Pasuk says concerning the luchot. Remember Perashat Ki Tisa? We talked about the luchot. הלוחות הראשונים אשר שיברת besamtam ba'aron. The Pasuk says that Moshe Rabbeinu is being told by HaKadosh Baruch Hu, the first tablets that you broke, put them inside of the Aron HaKodesh. What does it mean? What is there a need to save something that is broken? You know, if we already have the new set of luchot, keep the new set and dispose of the first one. The Gemara says no. Tana Rabbi Yosef melamed sheluchot b'shivrei luchot munachim ba'aron. From here we learn that the second set of luchot and the first set of the broken luchot, they are inside of the Aron HaKodesh. Why? Mikan, from here we learn, letalmid hacham sheshachach talmudo mehamat onso she'en nohagim bo minhag bizayon. A talmid hacham, a rabbi, that, for example, became very old, and his mind is not there 100%. Or situations in life that prompted him to leave the rabbinate and to engage in parnasah. It says, don't mistreat him. The same way the Torah is telling us, keep the broken luchot inside of the good luchot, the kavod to the Talmidei Hachamim, especially those that come of age, it cannot be down, but actually the opposite. The Zohar of today discusses the concept of Torah learning at night and the concept of tefillah. One of the main topics of Perashat Vayikra, known as also as Birkat Mechila, Birkat Kohanim. It's not Birkat Kohanim, Torat Kohanim, Mechila. This Humash is known as Torat Kohanim, the laws of the Kohanim. Why? Because even though there are many mitzvot in Sefer Vayikra, but the biggest chunk of the topic of Sefer Vayikra is all about Kohanim, purification, impurities, offerings, etc. Now, the Torah tells us in the opening statement of the Perashah, דבר אל בני ישראל ואמרת עליהם, אדם כי יקריב מכם קורבן להשם, מן הבקר, מן הבהמה, מן הבקר ומן הצאן, תקריבו את קורבנכם. The Torah is telling us the type of animals that are suitable for offering. But the question the commentaries ask in this particular parasha is in the second pasuk of the parasha. The pasuk says, Adam ki yakriv mikem, korban la Hashem. A person that will donate or will offer a korban from themselves. Rashi explains this pasuk, and it says, Rashi clearly, Ma Adam harishon lo ikriv min hagezel, afatem lo takrivu min hagezel. Why? Rashi has two questions. Question number one, why do you say the word Adam? Why don't you say the word Ish ki yakriv? Or ki takrivu? When you're going to offer, why Adam? So the short answer Rashi says is, like Adam did not steal in order to bring the korbanot, also the person cannot offer a korban that was stolen. Beautiful. Mikem, from themselves, meaning to say, your own property. That is the peshat. But in a deeper level, our rabbis tell us that the Torah is hinting us what is the best korban that a person can offer to a Kadosh Baruch Hu. Yes, you have options. You can offer a sheep, you can offer a lamb, you can offer a cow, you can offer a goat. There are different types of offerings that you can give to a Kadosh Baruch Hu. But the Torah is telling us that the best offering that a person can offer to a Kadosh Baruch Hu is offering themselves. Offering themselves. You know, because you bring an animal, okay, Chazaku Baruch, Shechita, Zerika, Hoba'ah, Alacha, all beautiful. But that doesn't do much on you. But when a person says, I want to get close to a Kadosh Baruch Hu, you're going to be changed. You are going to be a person that is changing. And that is the foundation of the Zohar of today, discussing how much a person needs to be careful in not doing averot. Completely the opposite. And it says that even though the person does averot, Borei Olam has great rahamim on the person. And the Zohar HaKadosh says, Modi'a lo et hatatav b'milim rakot u'midata chesed. In English it means, even when Borei Olam needs to deal with a person based on their misbehavior, yet Borei Olam does it in a gentle way, in a kind way. Borei Olam does not activate the attribute of judgment on the spot. Borei Olam has tolerance, and Borei Olam has patience for the person. But we need to remember that there are certain averot that there is no waiting period. Some averot may have a waiting period, but there are many averot that they don't have. For example, Hilul Hashem. If a person, God forbid, desecrates God's name, that is one of the few sins that there is no a long waiting period to see the heavens' reaction. This topic will be discussed some other time. Let's go quickly to the Musar of today. Amru Rabotenu, Masechet Sotah, chapter, page 41b. Kol mi sheyesh bo hanufa. This is a continuation of a couple of days, the concept of flattery. Flattery, it's a catch-22. Could be good, it could be detrimental. So the Musar of today talks about detrimental. It says, Amru Rabotenu ba'abon hanufa. You know, it's difficult to explain this, but the Musar says, Begoy hanef ashalehenu. Kasha hanufa ka'aboda zara, giluy arayot, b'shafichut damim. What's the meaning of hanufa? Hanufa in English means flattery. Now, how do you illustrate flattery in your life? Huh? No. hypocrisy has something to do, no, nothing to do with this, no. Flattery means you praise someone when usually it's not true. You understand? Exaggerating, especially in areas which are not good. Excuse me?
What a special man he was.
Okay, you need to be careful, especially when you give a eulogy, because malachim are being sent down to listen what the eulogy is all about. And then they judge the neshama of the person, of the niftar, based on the eulogy. In other words, if they praise the person tremendously, he was Moshe Rabbeinu Jr., Shamayim says, okay, we're going to use the standard of Moshe Rabbeinu. That's what Shlomo HaMelech writes in the Midrash of Kohelet. But it says, for example, Shlomo HaMelech, Yeroboam ben Nevat. Yeroboam ben Nevat rebuked Moshe, Shlomo HaMelech alav shalom. Now, for us to understand this, we need to understand who were the two people that I'm talking about. You are the king of Israel, okay? You are the king of Israel. And what did Shlomo HaMelech do? He closed some of the entryways into the city of Yerushalayim, so everybody will go in through one entrance. For what purpose? To collect the taxes. So people will donate. Okay, from a financial perspective, imagine yourself, you want to come into the parking lot of the synagogue, and to park, somebody will ask you, are you a member of the synagogue? Yes, I am. Did you pay your membership? No, I didn't. So you're not a member. Can you imagine if that happens? Embarrassing in part. But parallel to that, people need to understand that supporting the Bet HaMikdash was important. So comes Yeroboam ben Nevat, which was a good man then. Then he was a holy man, and rebukes the king of Israel. Rebukes him. Can you imagine you the king of Israel and a minister rebukes you? It's like Mike Pence rebukes our President Donald Trump. It will happen? It will never happen. Why not? Kavod HaMalchut. You may say, how can I say something to the king of Israel? And yet Yeroboam ben Nevat said to Shlomo, you're not acting properly. And the Gemara, no, Yeroboam. And the Gemara writes, this is in Masechet Sanhedrin. The Gemara writes that later on, Yeroboam ben Nevat became Malchei Israel, became the first kingdom of the Israel kingdom. Till this time, there was one kingdom only, David, Shlomo, etc. Upon the passing of Shlomo, Rehavam became the king of Israel, and Yeroboam ben Nevat opened his own kingdom. And the Gemara says, how did Shamayim allowed Yeroboam ben Nevat to open up his own kingdom? The Gemara says, because he was not afraid of telling Shlomo HaMelech whatever he was doing wrong. Sometimes when it comes to criticize people, depends who the person is, depends how do you say, if you don't say, etc. The opposite of Hanufa, of Hanifut, is Emet. The opposite Midah that reverses Hanifut is the concept of Emet. And David HaMelech already writes, I believe, Emet tikon la'ad. Truth remains alive forever. Sheker en lo raglaim. But deceitfulness has no legs to stand on. Okay, my good friends, Yiratzon that the Zechut of Moshe Rabbeinu alav shalom will bring everybody's Yeshua among all the needs of Am Israel. Amen. Baruch Adonai Le'olam. Amen ve Amen.